Welcome to the In the Tank podcast. Get ready for an hour of hot 40k goodness coming in your ears. You're in the tank now, baby.
We're live.
We are indeed live! Hello there, everybody. Welcome to episode 5 of In the Tank.
Yeah, ignore the fact that I'm sort of subtly trying not to look at my phone to get up the topics that I should have had up before the episode started.
Literally 5 seconds before, I'm like, you okay with the topics, bro?
Yes, I've got them up now.
Also, it is such a hot day today that we're recording this. Eddie's been mean and made me turn off my fan that you can potentially see in the background for a decent audio, which is fine. I will take the hit for all you beautiful
I've got my window
listeners out there.
closed and no fan either, and I am sweating my dick off too. So, you know,
Welcome
we're in
to
this
the
together,
UK.
Russ.
Apparently so.
We're in it together.
Apparently so. How you been, man? You been
Lovely.
okay?
Yeah, good. Yeah, I've been really excited because we are attending a doubles event later this year in November together.
Yes!
In the Tank 40k, and we are going to be playing some pretty spicy stuff. I think we've got you on your Deathwing, and me finally a plan generations in the making is to get my GSC going.
I'm so excited for you because it's a
Best
smaller
excuse ever,
size
right?
game. It gives you a good target to get everything painted by as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Because
because
it's
only
750
we're only doing
points each.
1,500 points like per side, so it's 750 each, which is perfect for a starting.
I think I've figured out our team name. We should be the Work Wives.
The work wives, I like that.
Work
yeah.
Wives.
I'll do that.
So Deathwing cross Gene Stealer cults, and I'm going for a Deathwingy, Alpha Strikey style, very mean 10 Assault Terminators on turn 1 style list.
It's a tale as old as time, isn't it? The old marriage of Deathwing and Gene Stealers.
Ironically, in the modern era, that's how the old Deathwing had their coloration of cream. So, you know, fighting off
you would
Gene
know a lot
Stealer
about
cult.
the colour of cream, wouldn't you, Russ?
I do, because as a viewer commented of the comment of drinking in my morning Morgas bone and shitting out Terminators. So on that note, what are you working on in terms of your projects, buddy?
I have, as I said, got the GSC out, and we have on my desk right next to me basically almost the whole 750 points already built. I've only got the Benefactus, which is the new Gene Stealer character to build, and 9 neophytes now. So I'm almost there, which would be good.
So you're
fun.
you're bringing the numbers. The meat
I am,
shield.
yeah. I've got loads of just crap, little skrittly bellends to just jump out the shadows and go back away again.
Skrittly bellends! Fantastic. That sounds great. I'm basically playing Custodes because my essential list is basically 15 Terminators and a unit of Scouts. So that'd be fun.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
It's going to be good.
So I'm going to be literally use a meat shield. So on my hobby desk is very similar. Like I'm Deathwinging it now.
Yeah.
So I had 6 Assault Terminators built. I'm going to finish painting them by the end of, probably before I go away on holiday, because I'm going to Scotland soon, which will be quite cool. And then I'm building 4 more to round that to a unit of 10 Assault Terminators using the new bodies and some custom bodies with some candles and stuff on them and some armors. I'll post when they're done. I'll post a photo to our Instagram.
Please do.
And they all look cool, and that'll be like the heart of a lot of my competitive lifts going forward, actually. I'm rocking the Assault Terminators all of a sudden, which is quite cool, because they're just dirt cheap.
Yeah.
And plonking 40 wounds on your opponent's doorstep is just mean.
Turn 1, that is rude.
Isn't it? I'm starting to like tweak
knock,
that now.
motherfucker.
Well, funny enough, on that note, I have been playing 10th edition wrong, apparently, since the beginning of 10th edition.
Yeah.
So I sent a message to you going, what the fuck? I can have 1,000 points in Deep Strike. And
because you thought it was only 500. And I was like...
Dude, I am not the only one. So I recently posted on some various Dark Angels groups to try and talk about this. And same for anyone listening to this as well at home. And everyone's telling me otherwise. They're like, no, it's 500 points. And I'm like... I thought that too, but it isn't.
Yeah.
It's 500 points of strategic reserves.
Yeah.
Up to half of your army can be in deep strike
reserves
and /or strategic reserves, right?
So it's
you can have
strategic reserves versus reserves, and that's the clarification.
Yeah,
nice
so
and
you can
easy
have
to distinguish.
So yeah, exactly. Fucking 10th edition. Fuck off, please. Like, Jesus Christ. So just as a thing at home, you can have 500 points in strategic reserves, 500 points in deep strike, 1,000 points in deep strike, or any combination thereof, or just strategic reserves.
As long as you don't go up to above 500 points of strategic reserves.
Or 1,000 points in deep strike.
Yeah, there are other ways to get around this as well. So, for example, my Gene Stealer Colts have got an ability on the Primus that lets me just bang up 3 units in reserves, regardless of how many points I've got in. I can do that on the Necrons as well with one of the things. So.
And of course, Grey Knight's picking stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, any
I think once the game starts,
up,
you can get as much as you like up there, basically. If you know what I mean.
Much you like up there. I'm sure Grey Knights do.
In the sky. Yeah.
Why do you think the Emperor's been sat on the Golden Throne for so long, eh?
It's in on something.
That's terrible.
Brilliant.
Have I just made an Emperor sodomy joke in like the first 10 minutes of this bloody video? What the fuck?
That's okay, but because I support the 4-armed Emperor now, so I don't mind.
The great 4-armed Emperor. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, you fucking heretic. It's all fine. It's fine. So we also have some exciting news to discuss. Fucking
Do we?
Blood Angels.
Oh, mate. God. Yeah,
whoa! I was not expecting that, because of course we had Imperial Agents. Imperial Agents haven't even come out yet. And we had the preview for Blood Angels. Old Chapter Master Valrak was right again, bless him, with his spoilers. Like, he's like our little canary down the well in terms of what the hell's coming, apparently. So what do we think of those? And I think we've got more to come. My theory is we've got a new Sanguinor probably coming, and we've got Sanguinary Guard coming. Sanguinary Guard, I reckon, are coming.
Sanguinor is, in terms of his rules, I think is one of the coolest models in the game currently. Like, you get involved, and then he just comes down and he's like, hang on a minute, I'm just going to fuck you up real quick.
Well, lore-wise, he's awesome as well, but I'm hoping that he looks quite sanguineous-y. Yeah. Like a ghost essence of Sanguinius.
That'd be
vibes,
cool.
Right?
Yeah.
That'd be
and Sanguinary Guard are like the oldest models ever, and they're so good. Their points are a bit, but they're cool. They have a place to, a reason to be in your list, right? So I think they really need a new kit for sure.
It seems like in the same way that Dark Angels obviously have the Ravenwing Terminator thing going on, Dark Angels are loving jump pack stuff. Right, because Sanguinary Guards have jump packs, Death Company tend to have jump packs 9 times out of 10, right? But the contents of that Death Company box looks so nice, because you've got looks like 20 Death Company Marines, 10 flying, 10 on foot. You've got the updated version of what the Death Company dread, which is the Redemptor sashi with the claws.
Yeah, it's the, what's it called? The Brutalis? Isn't it?
Yeah, but it might have new updated rules, right? Like, it might have, the Death Company.
Possibly. I feel like it's just going to be a Brutalis, but maybe, because if it's a Death Company one, then maybe there's a Death Company
with
Brutalis.
Death Company schemes and with Death Company upgrade elements
that would be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're getting I reckon they're probably going to cycle out the old Death Company Dread.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen.
So I reckon they're going to just replace it with the Brutalis one, but give it some Death Company rules, I guess. And then you've got the 2 new characters, which is Asterath and Vajmouth Lamertes.
Yeah, ball gag Lamertes.
Oh, is it a ball gag?
He's got a ball gag.
It was a Vajmouth Lamertes. I thought it was a little clit in there.
Yeah. It looks kind of. It could go.
Oh, wow, see, my imagination went wild there. Never mind. Yeah. Ball gag
Asterath, right?
Oof. Yeah, to be honest, though, I like Asterath. I think he looks a lot like his old model, pretty much. Just
he does. They've kept it super
which is not a problem,
true to the original.
Because he looks great. I quite like Lamertes. I think Lamertes is fucking awesome because he's on that
he looks like he's about to smash someone up, right?
Oh man,
he's unhinged.
Needless to say, my wife plays Blood Angels, and she's like, "We're getting this box," and I'm like, "Fair. That's totally fair."
Yeah. So I'm just going to interrupt quickly and go slightly off tangent.
Yeah.
Somebody commented on one of our Instagram pictures.
Oh no!
About a certain word that you can't say.
Oh god damn! So
do you want to try and give us an example?
Wrong.
Yeah, you already said chassis wrong.
I'm not good. Can you remember what the word is? Because I've completely forgotten what the word is.
No, I'll have to look it up if I'm going to. So hang on, give me a sec. I'll do that while you carry on chatting.
So it's just. I think we're going to have some fun with that because I'm probably going to do some doubles with my wife. So we'll have an Angels of Death-y style list. So it'll be Terminators and the old Black Rage infused Blood Angels. Have you got it yet? I can't
find the comment now.
No. See? Well, there we go. We won't comment on it today.
Damn it.
Sucks to be you. I know what it is. I know what it actually is.
Yeah, you do, don't you? You're holding out on me.
No, I am holding out on you because until you actually formally tie me down, I'm not going to.
All right, I'll try and find that one for next week.
Fine.
Yeah. So
fine. Well, that's fine.
The Blood Angels box
happened.
is cool. Yeah,
we love it. Very cool.
We love it. Yeah.
So it's going to be cool to see some new Sanguinary Guard as well because I imagine they're
they really need a new kit. Like they're old AF.
And they're iconic. Iconic.
Yeah. They are iconic
in general, so that's quite cool. So
yeah, excuse our dry throats, by the way. This week we're both recovering from horrible grotty toddler colds that we've had.
Dude,
so
anyone
if I sound like I'm eating gravel,
anyone that's a parent will understand. Oh my god, I had no idea that I would have every bug going forever.
Oh mate,
what the fuck? It's like a relentless. It's like a relentless writ store of bugs that happen.
It is.
It's just terrible.
Yeah,
so
awful.
We're just dying from Nurgle's plague. But it's not cool.
So, have you got a wet blend for me? And how creamy is it?
Tasty wet blend. It's a very creamy wet blend, although controversial wet blend.
Yeah.
So, in the advent of what I refer to as the internet age, we have the 3D printing revolution potentially upon us.
We do.
What the fuck how is that going to affect the hobby, man? Because I remember, 3D printing's not a new concept. I kind of remember 3D printing being around 6-7 years ago, maybe more.
Yeah.
And when 3D printing first happened, it was terrible. I'll be radically honest. Of course, one of the first things that is ever done is Warhammer models, because why wouldn't it be?
Of course, yeah.
And they look shit. They look fucking horrible. They were just monoposy.
And also, the lines as well were just
lines
really
were awful.
Bad with
lines were awful.
Printers.
Really brittle. You'd snap everything all the time.
Yeah.
But it seems like now 3D printing is getting kind of to the point where Games Workshop are going to have to address it, because it seems like they're doing an ostrich thing of sticking their head in the ground and going la 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 la.
Yeah, pretending it doesn't exist, aren't they? Yeah.
And the whole business model is based off luxury plastic.
Yeah.
And, and
all they keep doing is putting their own prices up, right? Which just gives people more and more of an incentive to 3D print.
And also not producing enough stuff that we then have to look at, weapon options or with my Assault Terminators is a great example, right? Because they haven't updated the Assault Terminator kit. And I had some Terminator bodies left over from my Deathwing Assault, from hoarding 2 Deathwing Assault box like a fucking greedy goblin that I am. I wanted to up my unit of Assault Terminators. I needed a bigger Thunderhammer, so I used Deathwing Knight shields, but I needed a upscaled Thunderhammer. Of course, they didn't release the Assault Terminators at the same time as them releasing the new updated Terminator box, so I would find some really good 3D printed Achilles Forge Thunderhammers for nothing, for $5 for $6 or something. Perfect. Glue those on. They look great. They're strong. They look fucking awesome. No mold lines. Take paint really well. And that's because G-Dubs, no shade, have been lazy and not done that at the same time. And it's just sorry, but your product does not exist and the unit still exists in the codex.
I think that they are doing something to combat this somewhat, by the way, because if you look, traditionally you do have some units which had weapon options that they just literally couldn't take if they were just using the stuff from the box. I think Inferno pistols or something like that was one of them, because people are always printing those, or the melter pistols.
Well, the big one was Tau battle suits as well. Tau battle suits having the million with all of their options, right?
But then what they've now done is they've
rakers and stuff.
Yeah. Now they've just changed the rules to fit the kits. So you literally cannot take anything outside of what you've got in the box. They've even done this with GSC, because you used to be able to take like 4 mining lasers. Now you have to take 2 mining lasers and 2 something else like seismic cannons, because those are what you get in the box. So I think that is a good way of dealing with it, because it, cuts it out for the future. But should they, I guess, should they not just do what they used to do, where they offered other kits where you could buy more weapon options? Because I'm pretty sure ages ago they had like extra stuff you could buy, right?
See, I'm going to be quite antagonistic, and don't get me wrong, like I have no shade with GW. I'm not a GW hater by any stretch of the imagination. Love the products, love everything that they do. Some of their business practices are a bit shady, but like, I was not a fan of what is happening with kits now, where it's literally you can equip as you can in kits, because the modularization, especially of Space Marines, is one of the best elements of Space Marines. The fact that so many kits interact with each other in such cool ways, that you can customize your units in such cool ways. And the battlesuit thing I thought was fucking stupid. And really fucked over a lot of people that didn't magnetize weapon options.
Oh, yeah.
Which is quite a hardcore, which, for a new player is kind of a hardcore thing to do. It's bad enough to
if you've just got into this game, right, and you buy a load of child battle suits, and then you think, I'll just build them with the coolest loadout or the whatever it is, you're going to be looking back going, why didn't I magnetize? And then you're either in the position of having to cut arms off of models that you've already painted and then magnetize them after the fact, which is just a nightmare and no one wants to do. Or you're just having to buy more models. And at that point, you probably are 3D printing.
Awful.
So, yeah.
Well, yeah. And it's like, and this is only something that GW can ignore for so long. Right? When the quality gets really good, and then what are their options? Right? What are you going to do? Are you going to sell STLs officially as GW STLs? Right? And so that people can print official molds? What are you going to do?
That could be a way around it. What are you
going to offer people? Right?
Or 3D print them yourself.
But then that's going to undercut their regular sales of miniatures as well, right? Because I think if you do things like, here's a banging one. Now, I know that Death Watch are probably about to become a bit more irrelevant, but imagine if you're a Death Watch collector, right? And you have... You want all of the shoulder pads on all your Death Watch guys. And you've got Gravis guys wearing shoulder pads, and you've got all of this sort of stuff. Those shoulder pads, if you buy a little, extra sort of box of bits for the shoulder pads, etc., those only come with 2 shoulder pads or something for the Gravis or Terminators. And they come with 8 or 10 of the other ones. Fucking loads of those.
Mate. And they're 15, 17 quid or something a box. So imagine how many you're going to need if you're doing a big army of Death Watch. And this is the sort of thing where you turn around and you go, I'm going to 3D print them. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And especially not in the fact that, with Death Watch especially, the other half of the shoulder pad you'd want as well. And the fun of doing a Death Watch army, in my opinion, I've never done one, but from what I can ascertain, the fun bit is having loads of different chapters represented in your army, and having their original shoulder pads on the other pauldron.
Yeah, which you can get some of.
What are you going to do? Buy but what are you going to do? Buy one whole set of every fucking chapter, and then not have some of the more obscure chapters that are iconic.
Here's the other issue with that. Having done some Death Watch in the past, a lot of the ones that you would buy, the shoulder pads, are designed to go on the left shoulder, not the right.
Yeah.
And obviously the Death Watch ones need to go on the right, not the left. So some of them have got it's backwards. Do you see what I mean? So it doesn't matter if it's Templars because it's just a mirrored image. But if it's something like Howling Griffins or something, it's all facing the wrong way. So you got to think about that. Mm-hmm. So 3D printing. I think
considered that.
I think that they should go back to the days of making extra kits, whether or not they 3D print them or whether they do them with plastic or whatever it is. But I think they should go back to the days of selling extra stuff in kits, because and then maybe lean away from this change that they've made. I don't know. It's difficult, but I don't think they will.
Do you know what they need to do is stop being hostile? So
they're hostile to consumers, right?
Yeah. The thing is, right, you sometimes need to buy the original kit to customize stuff anyway, right? Like with the example of my Thunder Hammers that I gave, right?
Yeah.
I still bought the Terminators in the first place. I just added those Thunder Hammers on later.
Yeah.
Same with what happened with battlesuits and stuff like that. You still bought the fucking battlesuit, which was like the vast majority of the cost of that mini. You just so happen to also buy some 3D printed or make some 3D printed components, right?
Yeah.
But the policy that they have, especially in regards to like Warhammer World and official like 40k / Sigma / fantasy events, is that you cannot use any 3D printed component on a model for an event that they run, right? So if I was to rock up at Warhammer World with my Terminators, they are fully in their right to go, we don't want that unit on the table. You lose 200, 300 points of your army. And I feel bad for me. And I go, actually, that's a bit shit. I bought those Terminators. I know that technically I'm advertising for something else, but unless you know where I got that component from in the first place, it's not like I'm essentially giving free advertising. Does that make sense? Like that finicky anti-consumer approach to that is 8 years behind where it needs to be.
No,
if I was a guard player and I wanted to do like a modern Catachan or even a Tanith army and get like third-party components, again, I'm buying Cadians and then tripping them out with extra components. I've bought like fucking 300 Cadians or whatever, and you're going to turn around and go, actually, take those off the board, please, because they're not official products. I'd be like, get fucked.
I do think they're a bit strict on that.
Give me the fucking option. Give me the fucking kit.
Yeah, exactly. If I turned up at Warhammer World with an entirely 3D printed army of demons, for example, there were none of them with a kit, I can understand them turning around and being like, that's not something we make here on your bike.
Yeah.
But if I had like a 3D printed little shield because I couldn't get one, for example, for like, my Death Watch guy, and they turn around and went, sorry, you can't use him. I mean, first of all, I think that's bullshit. Like, we should be more like the Americans. They'll let you run anything, even fully 3D printed models, so long as they're not completely wildly inaccurate in terms of size and stuff, and they're on the right bases. But like, I think that is a bit tight, to be honest with you. And I think that I personally don't like that stance, from where I'm sitting.
I guess give an inch and a consumer will take a yard. And as much as
Probably.
I kind of understand that they do that as a way of stopping a dickhead coming in with a completely 3D printed army and then being like, well, you set in the rules. It said that you can use 3D printed components.
Rules as written.
A component is a miniature, right?
Yeah.
And like, where do you draw the line? Right, do you go,
50%
of your miniature 50% of your miniature has to be an official GW miniature. That being said, I think that it should be at the discretion of like the person involved in it, if that makes sense. And like, the TO or something going like, well, obviously this is a completely 3D printed miniature on your bike, or actually this is just a tiny component of it.
There is a little loophole, by the way.
Yeah, go on.
But I think if you make the bit yourself, they're okay with it. So if you just say, I handcrafted that actually out of green stuff and I'm just amazing at sculpting, then you can be like, jog on. Yeah, but obviously if they've got loads of stuff, it gets a bit hard to pull that one.
But it shouldn't be that anti-consumer. And the thing is, like, every event that I've ever gone to that is not a GW event, don't give a shit. They don't give a shit.
No, I've never been to an event that's ever given a shit.
And that's fine, and I love that, right? Like, I think that's fantastic. But I think GW really need to sit down and work out what policy is going to be in regards to this going forward, because like any big industries just don't deal with something until it is literally on their doorstep, and then they're fucked. Same thing happened with the music industry,
Yeah, I mean, we should probably have a discussion about TTS as well in the same light at some point down the line, because I think this is very similar to 3D printing, and they must have a stance. Even if it's not a public one, they must have a stance on both of these things that we just don't know about, right? They're obviously thinking about it. They must be talking about it at shareholder meetings, thinking, But actually, to be honest with you, I don't think they've done anything in a lot of these cases is because, sure, it's going to take some people out from buying products of theirs, whether it's 3D printing or using TTS. But a lot of the time, these are probably people that would never have bought them in the first place. So I don't think they're really losing that much money.
Yeah, but the problem is going to be when 3D printing becomes far less expensive and far more common.
Yeah, 100%. There's going to be a tipping point, right?
Yeah, when your average household in the next decade can have it as an additional thing in their home.
Like, I already know a handful of my mates in the 40k community who have multiple 3D printers or have a 3D printer.
Me too. I feel like a dinosaur because I don't. I feel like a dinosaur because
they are
I
expensive,
don't. And
but the cost of them will slowly come down as well. So,
well, this is it, right? Where the reason why it's not a complete pandemic of concept is that not everyone has one, right? Like, it's your friend or, like someone in your community that has one that might print out stuff for your community or whatever. But when it's, 2 out of 3 Warhammer players or whatever, then we're on the verges. Yeah, I mean, I saw this wicked Death Guard 3D printing army that was a third-party army which you can get either as a physical or an STL. And it's the Death Guard underwater. It's like
yes, I know the one. It's
Bioshock
so cool.
stuff. Oh my god! I think it's called something like the Deep or something. Although that's very Boise, but it's like the Sunken or something. And they're like Death Guard with that look like old school style divers and stuff. And I'm like,
they're really that sort of stuff. I'm well into.
And I want a unit of those in my army.
Oh mate, they look so cool. So cool. Yeah. No, I'm into it.
And and that's it. And it's so imaginative. And maybe if the people that would do that paid a little bit in IP costs to GW, work with your community, not against your community.
They're going to have to get to a point where they have to do something about it, right? So we'll see. Yeah. We'll see what they'll either hot ban it and probably put a stamp down, crackdown or whatever. Operation Crackdown, Crackhead.
Crackdown. And then inevitably what will happen is the community will push back and it'll be this style culture war. And, and GW will fuck themselves because they didn't look at doing it sooner rather than later.
At the end of the day, it's going to be about what the events take on as the rule, really. Because at the minute, I think that we've got a pretty loose stance for the most part. Yeah. Like, obviously, it kind of needs to be in the same ballpark size, etc. But I don't think people are that bothered generally. So we'll see. See where it goes.
And very quickly,
just to
round this off. See, I haven't yet, so fuck you.
It's because I've changed my setup slightly from last week because when I was trying to do the video for last week, this pop filter that you can see was basically, I was occluded entirely by it. If you are watching us live, and not live,
obscured
us at least.
Behind line of sight, blocking behind a pop shield.
Exactly, yes.
But very quickly, just to finish off the point concerning 3D printing. I also completely understand if you 3D print if you're in Australia or New Zealand.
Oh,
because
my God,
look, being
so
serious now. Being serious now, this is already an expensive hobby in a cost of living crisis, especially in the UK. But we justify it because it's our special place, right? We love it, and I do the same, right? You budget, you buy what you can afford, etc., etc.
Yeah.
If I was in Australia. Fucking hell. For those that don't know, the Australian economic prices, by the time it goes through customs and almost comes out at 2/3 or twice as much, even after, to the point where Australian armies are kind of meted based on the cost of their army. So they hardly ever contain a Forge World unit. They hardly ever contain a lot of Guard or Horde style armies. So you're completely, so culturally you're completely restricted by what you can afford, which is fucking mind-blowing. So it's
by that logic as well, they should have suffered less with the whole Legends being removed. A lot of Forge World stuff disappearing and stuff.
Yeah. But, so, if I was in Australia, 3D print to your heart's content, guys, because fuck this. Like, GW need to build international sort of places where they can make their models. If you're that far behind that you don't even have places that build your models outside the UK, and I get it, It's nice to be patriotic and have something that's entirely made and built in the UK. Get it sorted. Get international building places, or relax your stand on 3D printing stuff. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Like,
so now that we're about midway through the episode, although it doesn't feel like we should be, how warm are you?
I'm absolutely roasting.
Yeah, you got any little bead of sweat on your forehead? Yeah,
it's all good. It's all good. It's almost like I'm in Nevada, in Las Vegas, just rocking around. It's all good.
Water.
So it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
So we've covered the 3D printing revolution.
We have.
So we're going to the opposite end of that. So we're kind of like cheapening stuff via the 3D revolution. Now we're talking about the golden fleeces, the more expensive end. Like, what are... So to explain what a golden fleece is, it's like you would love to obtain but can't because you want to have domestic harmony with your partner, or, and not splurge £1,000 on a hunk of miniature, right? What are your golden fleeces, Ed? What if money was no object and you could have something awesome that's very collectible, what would it be?
Well, I'll go for my first choice, which is there was a Japanese release of a plague caster for Death Guard with an ultimate sculpt. Oh, you bastard. I've got a 3D printing version, but I don't have the real one. So I would love
because I knew it was going to be.
Yeah, I'd love a real one of those because they're so expensive. They go for like 60 quid on eBay or something stupid. I can't warrant for spending that much on one little guy, but I love the sculpt. Super cool. But yeah, that's one of mine for sure.
That is a great sculpt because it looks totally different to like the one that already... It's a plague caster, isn't it? Right?
It's a plague caster.
And above him, he's got like his staff, because I've painted this model, so I got quite intimate with it. And he's got his staff, and it shows the life cycle of a fly through the warp energy above it. So it goes from like larvae to small fly to big fucking nurgly fly. And he's like, yes, life cycle of a fly. I bought that. That was originally inside a Japanese paint set that I bought on eBay for 50 quid with the paints.
Oh, you got the paints as well. Anyway, that makes it a little bit more.
Which were all Death Guard paints. Paints. So it was like 12 paints in with it, like of classic stuff, including Balthazar.
Yeah, he's a proper beauty, that sculpt. I love it. So I probably just use the one I've got, 3D printed one. Talking about 3D printing.
Yeah.
But
fair. Very fair.
What about you? Fleece me.
So my first golden fleece, as previously mentioned, is a mastodon.
Oh, yeah.
I want a Forge World Mastodon so badly. I won't go into too much detail about this because I spoke about it in the previous pod, or the pod before that, I can't remember. But essentially, I would love a Mastodon, but they're £410 in pure resin, and fuck that shit.
Also, the problem is, are they legends already? Are they legends already? Yeah.
I'll use it in my 30k Dark Angels army, or something narrative.
Yeah. Because I have a similar thing for my Necrons, which is the Seraptech Heavy Construct, which is ridiculously obscenely expensive, and that would be really
Is that
cool
like gribbly
it's a big spider-looking thing. No, those are the little centipede guys are cool. I've got one of those somewhere, but it's massive. It's like it's not the Mikey Yang, but it's like proper huge great thing. With like big legs at the front. It looks a bit like a scaled up version of the Triarch Stalker, but there's not a guy.
I've seen it.
It's just
I've seen it.
You know the one?
I've seen that. That's cool.
Massive.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, and it's got these two absolute shagger cannons underneath that would just rip you to bits. So that would be cool.
Shagger cannons.
Shagger cannons. Yeah. There's a really cool moment where one of those turns up in one of the books, by the way, and it is. Oh, really? I think it's got like bodies all like attached to it, like on spikes and stuff, and it's just walking around like sloughing off dead bodies, and all these flayed ones are just picking them up afterwards, following it round. Yeah, it's gruesome. It's awesome.
Amazing.
Proper
that's
cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that's probably another one of mine.
Okay, I've just to hop back to me. I've chosen a model piece, a terrain piece, and a book. Okay. So my terrain piece is, and I didn't realise that these had become mega collectible, and I'm gutted because I really wanted to pick one up when I could, but they're just not available anymore, which is the Battle Sanctum, which is the Adeptus Sororitas signature terrain piece, which is essentially a massive fuck-off statue of Celestine around what is pieces of like a chapel. And it's stunning. Absolutely stunning piece of terrain. Love it. But it's uber collectible now. It's not been in print, and because like the Battle Sanctum's not in the Codex anymore, it's not made and it's dropped. And basically it's like 300 quid on eBay.
Yeah. It's the same. I think my version of this would be the Fortress of Redemption. It's the same thing. It's ridiculous.
Oh, that's the Dark Angels one.
Yeah.
That's the Dark. Sorry, I'm just dying. That's the Dark Angels one, isn't it? Like that massive, with a Watcher on it.
I think so, something like that. But that is.
Yeah, it's got like a hooded. It's got like a hooded thing. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Do you have any other
some bits like that you just can't get that are really annoying, because it would be lovely if they still made them, because although they'd still be obscenely expensive even if GW made them, but buying them on eBay,
they should do them made to order. They should do them on made to order, mate.
They did do a made to order thing for terrain not that long ago for some of it, but it wasn't any of the bits I really wanted, so shame. Yeah,
there you go. See,
so what was your next one?
Do you have any other golden fleeces to finish, or
not really? I don't collect the books like you do. I do have some of the books, but I've only got one of them that's like a signed one. So I'm not a big book collector, mainly just because I either listen to them on Audible or have them on like Kindle or something like that, which is a bit lame. But
nah, you need to get the limited edition The Necron books, limited editions are stunning.
There we go.
Sorry, I'm just dying.
That's all right.
But no, I have one. Well, I've been fortunate enough to get the End and the Death volumes 1, 2, and 3 as limited edition, which is gnarly. I would love to get the entire Siege of Terror limited edition, but the one golden fleece that I have, that's a book, is the Legacy of Caliban limited edition collection, which is those 3 limited edition Dark Angels books that are stunning in like a big old block, and they go on eBay for like 500, 600 quid. Whoa. And I want one so bad because I have all of the Dark Angels novels, and pretty much all of them are limited edition actually, including like the Lion, Son of the Forest I have in limited edition. I have Azrael in limited edition. I have Luther in limited edition. I have Cypher in limited edition. So
what we're saying is you're a book nerd. Yeah,
we are in our family. We are Black Library limited edition collecting family.
Yeah, it's cool though.
But it is cool. They're stunning, mate. They are so nice. They are the best hardcover books ever. Not even just for Warhammer books, like ever. They make the most stunning books. I don't know who they have in their team that makes them. And they're stunningly beautiful. Like, seriously. Like, they're like Folio Society levels of, like, quality.
Yeah. We've got some Folio stuff. They are really stunning. Cool. Very pretty books.
Yeah, me too. Love it. I love books in general. I always love having a good bookshelf.
Yeah. Likewise.
I think it's the way forward.
All right.
Way forward.
I probably don't have any more Great White Whales. I think that's probably it for me, to be honest with you. Although there is a model
the White Whale.
It's just super expensive, which is a Tesseract Vault. But, we'll get one eventually.
Oh,
monster.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that the big fucking... Oh,
with the Catan in the middle of it.
So cool. Do they still have a shitty flying base to put them on?
Yep. Yeah, which is great with the new
wow.
pivoting rules. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Amazing. That fucking thing is going to snap. That fucking thing is going to
I think it is on, I don't know. It can't be on a regular flying base, surely. I think it might be on one of the plain ones or something. Bro. It can't be on a regular one. Who knows? But
either way, that has the Catan inside of it, right?
Yeah. He's like in the middle, sort of like going Super Saiyan. It's pretty cool.
What a cool,
really good at
what a cool silly model. Yeah, I've heard this. I've heard this. Decent. What a silly model. What a silly model, but it is very cool.
Yeah. Very
is that the same model for like the Catan in it as well? Like the
yes, and so I have a 3D printed version of that Catan again, because I'm not going to buy a whole Tesseract Vault and build it as an obelisk. Again. The worst unit in the Necron's Codex. Bugger that. I'd build it as a Tesseract Vault. So yeah, I do have a 3D printed one, which is cool. But it breaks a bit easily, which is a shame.
There we go.
Yeah.
No one will ever know. No one will
No
ever
one will
know.
ever
It's
know.
fine.
Exactly.
No one will ever know.
Love it.
So cool. So apart from lusting over things that we can't afford, dude, the Warhammer community is vast. The Warhammer community is awesome. What has been, over the years, some of your favourite or inspiring moments from the Warhammer community or, content creators or whatever? Like, do you have any highlights from the community over the years that you're like, that really touched me or that was, like, really cool?
Yeah, as you probably know, I'm a bit of a audio-visual nerd. Like, I like all my mics and my cameras and all that sort of stuff. So there was. I'm gonna need to find what this thing was, what it was called, and who it was done by. I think it was done in conjunction with the guys from Mini Wargaming, Dave, and all that sort of stuff. But basically, what they did is they got a camera on a robotic arm with a probe lens, which allows you to. It's like a thin, long lens that allows you to get real up close to stuff and looks super cool. And what they did is they basically got an entirely amazing like sequence shot where this robotic arm was just programmed to like run around on this battlefield and get really up close, going through all these sort of Necromunda style little alleyways and stuff. And it is just one of the coolest 40k models videos that I've ever seen. And I would love to have a probe lens, but they are ridiculously expensive. I'll try and find it.
Yeah. Was it just like a massive step up in terms of like tech and stuff for you?
Yeah, it's like really cool.
A cornerstone moment.
We'll get a link of the video somewhere, and you guys can have a look at it too. But it's super duper cool. That is. So that's one of my coolest things to come out of the hobby recently, at least. What about yourself?
Nice. I will be gooey and nod to a content creator which really inspired me, both in terms of like a do-it-yourself, almost punk attitude, and also to be authentically me in terms of like my army lists and stuff like that, which sounds really like unnecessarily gooey, but it's where it is. And it was a content creator called Winters SEO. I don't know if you know about
I know Winters. I've done an episode of Liam's show with Winters before, so I've met him.
Get the fuck out.
He's a good lad.
Now, one of my hobby goals is to meet Winters.
Yeah.
And if Winters is listening right now, I'm a massive fan of your work, and I think you're a top look. But for two reasons. Number one, I loved how when I first started getting back into the hobby, there were like two YouTube channels. One was, of course, Tabletop Tactics, which I really involved watching, and obviously for a different reason, because it was very flash and very like, like, here's the battle between this, blah, 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 blah. I loved how grassroots and quite English, and I hate to use the word, but twee Winters, like, battle reports were. And how ghetto they were. Because, he was just, with his cap, but he would, like, film it, what looked like on a camera or, like, his phone
15-year-old mobile phone.
And, like, zooming in. Yeah, and just how cool that was, that he had an audience that loved it because of how grassroots it was, and like how cool his battle reports were, and he was funny and just really sweet, and just I really appreciated that, and it kind of made that anyone could kind of have a go at content creating in a way, and like give it a stab and just do it based on the strength of your personality. And another thing that made me really gooey about Winters was that I was following a lot of content creators when there was this really awesome event. I think it was just after or during lockdown, where it was a Gibraltar 40k event in 9th. Yeah. Where it was like a big community. Yeah.
I think I know the one you mean. It was, I think I know a couple of people that went to it, because it was all content creators, right? That went.
Right, yes. So Lawrence from Tabletop Tactics went. Mikey from Hellstorm Wargaming went.
Yeah.
You met,
I think Liam might have gone.
Right? Liam did go. I think
Steve Box might have gone. There's a few others.
Yeah, and it was a huge event. It was a huge event. A lot of very competitive players and really nice players went. And people were kind of guessing that either Lawrence would win with Drukhari, because Drukhari were busted at the time and really good.
Yeah.
Or Mikey from Hellstorm Wargaming would win, because Mikey always wins events with Space Marines, because he's amazing at Space Marines. And Winters went as kind of like a community member representing, and with the nicest way saying, I don't think necessarily anyone really expected Winters to bring the thunder, right?
Yeah.
But Winters appeared to that event. I don't know if you remember what he played. Do you remember what he played?
Deathwing.
He
Wasn't
played
it?
Deathwing.
Yeah.
So Winters showed up to that event with a Deathwing army, which at the time was kind of strong, kind of middle tier.
Yeah, they were decent.
Really. And played just 100% Deathwing. He just ran 3 units of 10 Deathwing Terminators, 2 units of Blade Guards, and a character, like a chaplain, and an apothecary, because you could raise stuff. And with no disrespect, no one expected Winters to play that list. They were expecting him to play like Death Guard or the 13th, which was his own custom Space Marine chapter.
Yeah.
And he shows up with this Deathwing list completely out the... No one expected it. Painted by Den of Imagination in this awesome green colour scheme. Like black with like green edges, which looked fucking awesome on camera. It looked stunning, right? And Winters proceeded to fucking wreck the event. Like, win the entire event. And like, everyone was like, what the fuck? Like... And he beat Lawrence, he beat Drakari, and it basically came to like who could roll 4s. So like 4s to wound, basically like him with Dark Lances or whatever, and then 4s and then 4s to save, right? And a lot of the invols, the Storm Shield invols. And this Dark Horse won it. And it was so inspiring for me that you could play what you wanted, and it just so happened that Winters played the army that I kind of wanted to play. I was feeling a bit afraid of like min-maxing and playing like a Terminator heavy list, and I just found it really inspirational as a Dark Angels player and in particular a Deathwing player for him to do it. And he was so sweet when he accepted the trophy. He was so lovely and so on, because I think it was for charity as well. And it was just really inspiring to see him like take the trophy, and it just really profoundly affected me. And I was like, right, fuck it, I'm going to play what I want to play. I'm always going to play what I want to play. Yeah, I know, but it was the fact that was almost validating for me that it was the army that I wanted to play, but it was more so like him as the dark horse, and everybody was so sweet about him winning, and I don't even think that he could believe that he won. Like, he was just like, oh my god, and it was a great trophy, and it was just a real, like,
Legends?
fist. It was No Retreat Legends. Yeah? It was No Retreat Legends. Check it out on YouTube. It's still up, I think. And you know, it was just so inspiring that he won it. And much love to you, Winters, because it inspired me to play what I want to play. And, yeah. Love that creator.
Well, that's good though. That's a nice story, because I think it is really, as we said a minute ago, very important to play what you want to play. And I do think a lot of people either feel pushed into cookie cutter builds because they want to compete, or you know, they either they just completely don't know what to do. But I think you just gotta, and I think this is an interesting point competitively. When you go with a cookie cutter build, sometimes that can be the way, right? To just get the most out of your army, etc., etc. But I personally think that you should always build your own lists and just take them from your own playstyle perspective, because I think everyone has a different playstyle. And if you do something wildly different to your playstyle, you're not going to do as well as the guy that built that to work with his playstyle. So I think that it's important to kind of factor that in to your decision making when it comes to this building. But yeah, that's nice. That's a good one too. Good one. Yeah. Very nice.
I will be real with you, mate. That is the best advice that you've said on this, that either of us said on this podcast, which is like pilot. You know, people hate that term, but pilot the army that makes sense to you, because as soon as you start chasing that of what you think is good, you're going to probably play it like shit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're not as experienced with the concepts. And you can make a lot happen with what you have. And who knows? When you rock up to that event, you just might have that one weird off-kilter list that wrecks everybody and be the dark horse like Winters.
I've seen it happen.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I've seen it happen.
So have I. So have I. So, you know,
very cool.
Play what you feel, bro, always.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Lovely. I think that's a good one you've raised there. Very good one. I'm just trying to think if I've got any other ones that I can come up with. But, I mean, there's been loads of stuff over the years. Like, this community as a wider community is enormous, right? And everything, even like the little things that we've been involved in personally or whatever, those are just fractions of it. And I think that one of the things that I love, and this is just a general feeling rather than a specific community event or anything like that, but one of the things I do love about this hobby is just this inclusivity. We have touched on this in previous episodes of the pod, but it's just so good. Like you wherever you go, you always feel amongst friends, and I think that's the best thing for me personally about this. It's lovely.
Yes,
it's good. It's gooey again, but it is just lovely.
It's the best byproduct of being in this hobby, and I've never had a community like it in any of the other things that I've done competitively gaming in my life.
Yeah,
and it's awesome. There's no two ways about it. And when you have someone that you love taking the spotlight that's done particularly well or whatever, everybody's really cool, and they're like, yeah. Like, get in you, like, fucking, like, have your moment. It's your moment time, right? And I think that's so important to let people have that. And because life's crazy, and, to have that moment with friends and, to have that moment with friends and be loved in your community is kind of what life's about, really. So, yeah, there you go.
It's a lot of fun. We wouldn't be doing this podcast if we didn't love it so much, right?
Exactly. And speaking of the way forward...
Go on.
We're taking a trip in the old time machine again.
Oh God, let me warm it back up.
Yeah, warm it up. Like do the time machine noise, Ed.
Yeah.
There we go. That's what I'm after. Yeah,
That's it.
I'll take it.
That's what you're having.
Improvise. I put you on the spot. I just want to make you feel awkward. Sure. This is a vast topic, but I'm going to try and condense it quite short. The future of the hobby. What's going to be the future of the hobby, Ed? What is the future of the hobby?
I think that we are going to continue to plough forwards edition by edition as we do, and we will see ups and we will see downs. I do think that the rule set is generally honing in a good direction, I think, generally speaking, from that perspective of things. And I'm sure that as the kits kind of go, it'll be a steady range, a cyclical range refresh, right, going forwards. We'll probably get another army or two down the line and stuff like that from like a wargaming perspective. But in terms of the wider thing, obviously we discussed in a previous episode that we're looking at possibly having things like, Amazon TV shows, and we've already got loads of books and, audio books and stuff like that. So I think, and games. So I think it's just going to keep getting broader and broader, if I'm honest. Like, that's my take on it. I think more and more people will get involved in this hobby. I think GW have got such a good monopoly on it in terms of its IP that they're just going to keep growing. Unless they do something real dastardly or a real fuck up, they can't really go wrong. It's their game to lose, as it were, So what about yourself?
That was beautifully put, mate. That was really elegantly put. And I will agree with all of your sentiment. I think that we are on the verges, in my opinion, of a mainstreamification of the hobby in a way that...
which we discussed last time.
That's, in my opinion, all dependent on the popularity / quality of the Amazon TV show. Yeah. But I think in a similar way to what we had in the 90s, I feel like we're going to have a mainstreamification where adults will notice it. That will be massive, and normies will notice it, and it's going to be huge, right?
Because
in terms of the game, carry on.
No, I was just going to say, in terms of like the game, obviously all the people sort of our age and a few above and a few below are really into this hobby because we grew up with it. But if you think about it, GW stores across the world have been pumping this shit into like towns across the globe for the youngsters, because they really want to push that future generation. So they've been doing groundwork.
That's how you hook them.
Yeah, exactly. Get them hooked on the old plastic crack. And I think that will, they'll see dividends for that in the future. So, but yes, you carry on. Sorry.
And to be honest, no, not at all. No, and just related to that, they didn't have to compete with the internet for young people's attention either.
No.
So they might have to change. They might have to change their marketing approach to not being purely about recruiting youngsters, but also recruiting adults more so.
Yeah.
And what better way to do it than to create a very snazzy TV show that's going to market to adults, because that ain't going to be for kids. That show is not going to be for children. So
let's hope it's
going to
not
get a lot of adults into it. And, you know, a lot of millennial / you know, older people that want something to do, you know, that need a hobby and need friends. So, you know, great. Like, why not? And just to bring back to the rules in terms of where I think we're going to go for rules, I love what's happened with 10th. I still think there needs to be a lot of reforming with 10th. I think digital codexes need to come next edition or the edition after next edition. And a streamlining of concept. I think the game's going to get more and more popular and strong as time goes on, and the community is going to get quite cool. I mean, it's so easy to rag on the hobby and to rag on GW in terms of like, oh, they don't write good rules. Speaking from someone whose favourite edition was 3rd, apart from current edition, I think they're doing a great job. Like. You know, you can complain about finicky bullshit rules all you like and stratagems. I don't like stratagems. But you got to take ownership for your own ability to understand rule systems. And I actually think that the rule systems at the moment are pretty great. And I think they're only going to build on that. I'd like to see a Warhammer RPG, another Warhammer RPG come out. Like a Rogue Tradery Deathwatch thing. And some more video games, some more cool video games. Space Marine 2 is on the horizon, so that should be pretty cool.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too, actually. Doing some PvP as a Dark Angel. Yes. Yeah.
Hopefully they've got cross-platform. Are you going to play it on the PS? What have you got? An Xbox, PS5? What are you on? PC?
I don't currently own a next-gen console. Or a PC, so I'm going to have to sort that out. I know, so I'm going to have to sort that out.
You're a dirty Mac user as well, aren't you? Ugh.
Dirty Mac and Nintendo boys.
You're never going to run it on that. The Tyranid swarms are going to look like little black dots. Like you have to have the graphics settings on like 1%.
Hey, look, I'm a music guy. Get fucked. Like music people love a Mac, so leave me alone.
Sure. Nice.
Whatever.
But
whatever.
Onwards and upwards for the future, regardless of which way you cut it. Hopefully,
I'm really optimistic. I'm really optimistic. I just think, as you say, GW have got to refine their business practices to be a bit more ethical.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be
consumer
a bit more
right?
Consumer friendly is definitely the key word that I would use, because if they don't, they're going to alienate people and it's going to go wrong very quickly.
The thing is, I get that they've got shareholders. They have the world in their hands. Yeah, I get that they've got shareholders that they need to keep happy, but a lot of companies do.
Yeah.
I think that for them, and this is probably quite like a general thing for them, I think they need to kind of get with the modern age a little bit in terms of their way of thinking, because they do make some proper blunders, and you just think to yourself, how do you keep making these mistakes? Like, you're a modern company, surely. You've got all these people working for you. Surely someone at one point must have raised their hand and thought, boss, that's probably a bit of a shit way of doing it. But apparently not, because these things still keep happening. So they do kind of need to work on that a little bit.
Well, I think it's what's happening with like the culture of generational reform, where, you know, a lot of the old guard business practices are starting to cycle out in both the corporate world and otherwise, where, you know, Gen Z is going to start entering the workplace properly soon, and, you know, that's going to cause massive effects where they're going to, you know, be like, actually, don't treat me like shit. I'm worth more than that. And if you can't, you know, supply your bricks and mortar store and abuse your workers like you always have been anymore, you need to refine your business practices. And you know, I just think it's just all for the good. And you don't have to make all of the money to appease your stockholders. You are making record profits every single year. Your growth is increasing. Stop trying to make all the money rather than more money.
But the ironic thing is that actually I feel like they would make even more money if they handled it better. It's not. It's actually a thing that makes the most sense from a business practice as well. It's just that they can't see that for some reason. And I'm not running GW, and I'm clearly not like, you know, a top world businessman. But even some of this stuff to just the layman is pretty common sense. You look at it and you think, fuck me. Exactly. Like, as a consumer of this looks shit. So just up your game a touch, like with those sort of things. So that's
Yeah,
all
the
it is. I think
optics aren't
on the
good.
whole, yeah, the optics are bad. Yeah, exactly. We said on this the other day when we were talking about the whole Custodes thing about with them saying, oh, they've always been female, when instead of just saying, oh, actually, well, you know, because we wanted to be, you know, inclusive, we've added female Custodes to the law, and you know, just
Which
deal
is
with it.
totally valid.
Yeah.
Which is a totally valid way to handle it, which is like
But just
get
handle it
over
properly.
instead
That's all
of
it
trying
is.
to retrospectively change it, right?
Yeah.
I get that. I totally understand. So we've now set the world to rights. Should we finish on a final lore topic?
Yeah, go for it.
So last time we did tanks. Tanks are
Yes.
awesome, but there's one thing
Tanks are awesome.
arguably even more awesome than a tank, and that's a fucking dreadnought.
Oh,
Now, for the record, I am counting all Xenos species within this dreadnought.
okay. So
Classic
things like
Imperial
Wraith
dreadnought.
Knights? No, that's not a
Will
dreadnought. That's
count.
too
Will
big.
count.
Yeah.
Wraith Lords.
Wraith Lords, that's the one. Yeah.
Quickly, what are your 3 favourite dreadnoughts, or as many dreadnoughts as you wish to mention?
I have a real soft spot for Bjorn the Fell-Handed because I just love him from a lore perspective. I hope I stole one from you because he is just a baller, that boy. And I've played him before in a tournament and done, you know, had some really fun games with him, and he's just great. Like,
Oh my god,
I love him.
You played Space
Yeah,
Dogs,
I
did you?
borrowed
You
my
played
mate
Space
Sam's
Doggos.
Space Wolf army a while back. God, this was like 2020 or 2021 maybe. And I went to, I think it was like Nottingham or something like that, and I played them at an event. I can't remember which. No, it's Coventry actually. Yeah, it's Coventry GT. That's the picture of me looking real miserable that you put on the Instagram. That's the army I was playing.
Awesome.
It was really fun. Like Bjorn kicked ass in every game. He was brilliant. So that's my number 1 pick for Dreadnoughts. What about you?
I still look at a Space Wolf army on the other side, and if they have Bjorn, I'm still like, oh yeah, go on then. Get in.
Come on, you shag.
Like, good choice. Good choice. He's the best old man, and he's such an old
he's
bastard.
fucking
He's like,
great.
who don't know?
And his kit still holds up as well.
It's just such a shame that the Space Wolves are assholes. Controversial. Wolfie McWolfie. I have to hate them because I'm a Dark Angels
you do,
player,
you
so
do.
we have the superior animal symbol in our army.
Yeah.
So it's the way it is. But fuck you, considering my name's Russ, I find that quite ironic. Sorry,
Yeah.
Space Wolf players, but you're just a load of furries. No. Oh, throwing it down.
Shots fired. Oh Lord!
It's fine. Just come and play me. It's fine. Just lure you into a
Wow, that's
killing
fighting
floor.
talk. That is. There you go.
I use strategy. It's fine.
Yeah.
So my first dreadnought. Wow, I'm just fucking firing shots now.
Yeah,
Jesus
you are.
Christ.
Yeah.
So I have a character dread as well, because I'm not a fan of the Space Wolves per se. I have another character dread who I consider to be superior to Bjorn.
Go on.
His
Then.
name is Rylanor.
Rylan.
Rylanor is a fucking G.
Go on, tell me about
He's in a contempt to Dreadnought Sashi, so he's 99% better than all other dreads.
Chassis.
And B, yeah, well, fuck you. And B, he humbled his own Primarch. So he was a Itzvan, he got Itzvanned, but Itzvan
Right.
3'd rather than Itzvan 5'd. Do you know
Yeah.
Rylanor?
I don't know Rylanor.
You don't know Rylanor? Get fucked.
I don't think I know
Okay,
Rylanor.
Rylanor is an Emperor's Children. He's an Emperor's Children dread. He was
Yeah.
originally Itzvan 3'd. He
Right.
obviously didn't die because the virus bomb didn't get into his...
Oh, I do know Rylanor. Okay, sorry. Carry on. Carry
Thank
on.
you. He didn't get into his... I need you to say
Suit.
the word. Say the word.
Dreadnought
Or-
armor chassis. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So the virus bomb couldn't get inside the Sashi, and basically he survived Itzvan,
Yeah.
lived on Itzvan for centuries, getting all twisted about fucking Fulgrim being a dick, and sent out a signal to Fulgrim that he couldn't resist. Fulgrim came down on the planet and was like, "Surprise, motherfucker!" and just wrecked Fulgrim, and Fulgrim fought him and stuff like that, and basically he tripped a bomb using some Thousand Sons around him and stuff like that, who the Thousand Sons even went... He did this epic speech to Fulgrim being like, I hate what you've become. You've damned my entire legion. Like, you're a scumbag. Like, he basically, like, rips into Fulgrim about him being a twat. And self-destructs and almost kills Fulgrim. And it's
amazing.
Fucking awesome. So if you're going to go down in a blaze of glory, do a Rylanor. It's fucking awesome, mate. So Rylanor is my first choice.
Yeah. Well, maybe in the name of time, I'm going to just do one more, I think, because we are already over our hour. But I'm going to go for a chassis this time rather than a character, because there is another character that I would choose, but I'm just going to go for the chassis because I love it. It's the Ironclad. It is a absolute classic kit, and I know that they've obviously sort of got rid of it, but it is just so cool. Like, with the siege hammer stuff.
An Ironclad takes no shit. You look at an Ironclad and you know exactly what that motherfucker's going to do, right?
He's going to
cave your head in.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to cave your head in and smash a wall down. That's what he's going to do. That's what that fucker's going to do. Yeah, what a cool choice. I admire your cultured Dreadnought choice.
Yeah, they say I'm
he's not a conventional choice.
No,
they do say he's not a normal, what I would consider a normal choice of Dreadnought, is he? He's like an Ironclad's a bit obscure.
He's a legend, literally.
I like it. Yeah, quite literally. Oh, rest in peace, the box threads.
Out, my boy.
Sad times. Yeah, absolutely. Fucking hell. I will finish up with a Sashi as well.
Yeah.
What is the most powerful Dreadnought body, Ed?
In terms of the modern game? Oh, is it Leviathan?
In terms of ever, it is a fucking Leviathan, mate.
Leviathan Dreadnoughts are just so cool.
Mate,
banging choice.
I love a chonky boy. Chonky boys are my life.
Yeah.
I love a big, thick boy. And the Leviathan is the complete personification of thick. I love a fucking Leviathan. I love everything about it. In 8th edition, they were monsters. Absolute fucking monsters on the battlefield. Those storm cannon arrays, blowing anything.
Or the is it cyclonic melter lance thing? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, which is essentially 6 multi-melters glued together on a fucking stick. And
they were really cool. I missed those.
Oh, dude. And I don't understand, GW, you're on thin ice, why you make a fucking fantastic plastic kit of them and then you fucking put them into Legends. What are you
It's just because they can't balance it. They can't. There's too much to balance. Yeah. Too many balls to juggle.
Don't you balance me with your balls. Don't you balance me with your balls. Bullshit. Fucking
it is bullshit.
Shit.
Oh, I agree with you.
You're a games company. Balance your stuff better. No. You. What have you done to my boy? You've destroyed my boy.
Them on the table.
I just went into space there. I was just I want my Leviathans back. Give me my. Look, in 30k, I run 2.
Yeah.
I run them as a
Dreads are
Talon.
really
I
good
run 2 of them in a Talon. They're busted in 30k, but I run 2. And they all have storm cannons, and they're just there going, "We are the Dreadwing. We are death." Just fucking annihilating stuff.
Love it.
One day we'll talk about the Dreadwing because I love the Dreadwing. Chonkus, and I love that they send the person insane. Because they're so big and powerful, they send their pilots insane. They were personally rumoured to be created by the Emperor himself on Terra, which is pretty cool. They were never made on Mars. They were manufactured on Terra. And they're rare as hen's teeth, and they look fucking awesome. So I love my
big choice, mate.
Chonky boys.
Baller choice.
Thank you. King of the Dreads. Fuck you, Redemptor. Fucking Leviathan is the way forward.
For sure. Agree.
Now... We're rounding things up because we've already gone over the limit. But, call to action, which I need to do at the beginning. Can you remind me to do call of actions at the beginning of the podcast, please? Do or do not. There is no try, Eddie. Right, so
I will try.
Follow us on. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Amazon, iTunes, Spotify. Give us some love. Send us some topics. Talk to us.
Yeah.
Winters, hit me up, boy, please. This is my shout out to Winters. Everyone hit me up. Give me some topics. Like, tell me what your favourite Dreadnoughts are.
Yeah.
Interact with us, damn it. Acknowledge us.
Talk to us.
Please.
No, we would love to hear any comments you guys have got. You know, be it criticism or be it you know, feedback, or you know, just talking, shooting the shit, telling us what your favorite Dreadnought is. Just, you know, give us a comment, give us a like, give us a subscribe, because we are not going anywhere. We're going to keep doing this until we die.
We're hammering. Fucking hell.
Until we are ourselves interred in Dreadnoughts.
Until death. Bring it on. Absolutely bring it on. Wow,
Amazing.
we really are work wives. Like, till death do us part and all that jazz.
Till death do us part.
Exactly. Wow. Okay, on that somber note, laters, guys. Have a fucking sick week. I'm off to Scotland.
Yeah.
Laters.
We will
Love
catch you next week.